If you're dealing with joint pain, you know how much it can affect your daily life. Getting out of bed, climbing stairs, even opening a jar can become a challenge. And while there's no magic food that will cure joint pain overnight, research shows that what you eat can make a real difference in managing inflammation and discomfort. Today, I'm going to share 5 foods that science supports for joint pain relief, and more importantly, how to actually use them in your everyday life. Let's get into it. First up, fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and trout. Now, you've probably heard about omega-3s before, but let me tell you why they're so important for joints specifically. These fish are packed with 2 types of omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, which are some of the most well-studied anti-inflammatory compounds we know about. They actually get incorporated into your cell membranes and help produce compounds that reduce inflammation throughout your body. Multiple studies have shown that omega-3s can reduce joint stiffness and pain, particularly in people with rheumatoid arthritis. Some research even suggests they might help reduce the need for anti-inflammatory medications in some people. Now, I'm not saying to stop your medications. Always talk to your doctor about that, but the research is pretty compelling. Here's the practical part. Aim for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week. A serving is about 3 to 4 ounces, roughly the size of a deck of cards. If you're not a fish person, I get it. Talk to your doctor about omega-3 supplements from fish oil or algae-based sources. The algae-based ones are great if you're vegetarian or vegan. One tip I'll share, wild-caught salmon tends to have higher omega-3 content than farmed, but farmed is still beneficial and usually more affordable. Canned salmon and sardines are budget-friendly options too, and the bones in canned salmon are actually a great calcium source for bone health. Number 2, berries. And I'm talking about strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and especially cherries. Berries are absolutely loaded with antioxidants called anthocyanins. These are the compounds that give berries their deep, vibrant colors. And here's what's interesting. These anthocyanins help fight inflammation at the cellular level. They can reduce the production of inflammatory compounds in your body. Now, tart cherry juice in particular has been studied pretty extensively for joint pain. Multiple studies have looked at tart cherry juice for reducing pain and stiffness in people with osteoarthritis. One study found that women with osteoarthritis who drank tart cherry juice had reduced markers of inflammation in their blood. Another study showed that tart cherry juice helped reduce muscle pain and inflammation in runners. Here's how to use them. Fresh or frozen berries work equally well. Frozen are actually picked at peak ripeness, so they're nutritious and more affordable. Aim for about a cup of berries daily. You can add them to oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies, or just eat them plain as a snack. For tart cherry juice, look for 100% tart cherry juice with no added sugar. It's pretty tart, so some people dilute it with water. About 8 to 12 ounces daily is what's been used in studies. Fair warning, it's not cheap, so regular berries are a great alternative if cost is a concern. Third, extra virgin olive oil. This is one of the cornerstones of the Mediterranean diet, which is consistently shown to be one of the healthiest eating patterns for reducing inflammation. Extra virgin olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal, and here's something fascinating. Researchers discovered that oleocanthal works similarly to ibuprofen in reducing inflammation. Obviously, we're talking about much smaller amounts than you'd get from a pill, but when consumed regularly as part of your diet, it can have meaningful anti-inflammatory effects. Studies on the Mediterranean diet, which uses olive oil as a primary fat source, have shown lower levels of inflammatory markers in the blood. Some research specifically on olive oil has shown it can help reduce pain and improve physical function in people with rheumatoid arthritis. Here's the practical advice. Use extra virgin olive oil for cooking at low to medium heat, or drizzle it on salads, vegetables, and bread. About 2 to 3 tablespoons daily is the amount used in many Mediterranean diet studies that show joint health benefits. That might sound like a lot, but it adds up quickly. A tablespoon for cooking eggs in the morning, a tablespoon drizzled on your lunch salad, and you're already at 2. Quality matters here. Look for extra virgin olive oil in a dark bottle. Light degrades it. It should smell fruity and even a little peppery. If it smells like nothing, it's probably old or low quality. Store it in a cool, dark place, not right next to your stove. Number 4, leafy greens like spinach, kale, collard greens, and Swiss chard. These vegetables are nutritional powerhouses when it comes to fighting inflammation. They're rich in antioxidants, particularly vitamin K, vitamin C, and vitamin E. But there's a specific compound I want to highlight, camphorol. Research suggests that camphorol may help slow the progression of osteoarthritis by reducing inflammation in cartilage cells. Leafy greens also contain sulforaphane, especially when they're lightly cooked. Some studies indicate that sulforaphane might block certain enzymes involved in the inflammatory process in joints. There's even research looking at sulforaphane for potentially slowing cartilage damage in osteoarthritis. The vitamin K in these greens is also important because it plays a role in bone metabolism. People with low vitamin K intake have been shown to have higher rates of osteoarthritis in some studies. Here's how to get more of them. Aim for at least 1 serving daily, and honestly, 2 would be even better. A serving is about a cup of raw greens or half a cup cooked. You can eat them raw in salads, saute them with garlic and olive oil, add them to smoothies, or mix them into soups and stir-fries. Pro tip, if raw kale is too tough for you, massage it with a little olive oil and lemon juice for a minute before using it in salads. It breaks down the fibers and makes it much more tender and easier to digest. Or just cook them. Cooked greens are just as nutritious. And finally, turmeric, specifically the compound in it called curcumin. Turmeric is the bright yellow spice used in curry powder, and it's been used in traditional medicine for centuries. Now we have modern research to back up what traditional medicine practitioners have known all along. Multiple studies have shown that curcumin can reduce joint pain and improve physical function in people with osteoarthritis. Some research even suggests it may work as well as certain anti-inflammatory medications, like ibuprofen for reducing pain, but with fewer side effects. One study found that people with knee osteoarthritis who took curcumin extract had significant improvements in pain and function compared to placebo. Another study compared curcumin to an anti-inflammatory drug and found similar pain relief. Now here's the catch. Curcumin is poorly absorbed by your body on its own. Your body breaks it down quickly and you don't get much benefit. But here's the game changer. Black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which can increase curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Yes, you heard that right, 2,000%. So always combine turmeric with black pepper. How to use it? You can add turmeric to curries, soups, scrambled eggs, roasted vegetables, or rice dishes. Golden milk is popular. Warm milk with turmeric, black pepper, cinnamon, and a little honey. You can also add it to smoothies, though it will turn them yellow. Some people prefer curcumin supplements because they're more concentrated and usually include black pepper extract or fat to enhance absorption. If you go that route, talk to your doctor first, especially if you're on blood thinners, because turmeric can have mild blood thinning effects. Now let me give you some practical tips that tie all of this together. First, joint health isn't just about adding these anti-inflammatory foods. It's also about reducing inflammatory foods. That means cutting back on excess sugar, refined carbohydrates, fried foods, and processed meats. These foods can increase inflammation in your body and work against all the good stuff you're eating. Second, these foods work best as part of an overall healthy eating pattern, not as isolated magic bullets. You can't eat berries and then have fast food for every other meal and expect great results. Think of these foods as part of a bigger picture. Third, weight management really matters for joint pain, especially in your knees and hips. Here's a stat that surprises most people. Every pound of body weight puts about 4 pounds of pressure on your knees. So if you're carrying an extra 10 pounds, that's 40 pounds of extra pressure on your knees with every step. Losing even a small amount of weight can significantly reduce joint pain. Fourth, stay hydrated. Cartilage is about 80% water, and staying well hydrated helps keep your joints lubricated and cushioned. And finally, be patient. Food-based approaches to reducing inflammation usually take several weeks to show noticeable effects. This isn't like taking a painkiller where you feel relief in an hour. You're working on reducing chronic inflammation, and that takes time, usually at least 4 to 6 weeks of consistent eating before people notice a difference. Remember, food is not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have persistent joint pain, especially if it's getting worse, or affecting your ability to do daily activities, you need to talk to your doctor about a comprehensive treatment plan. That might include physical therapy, medications, exercise recommendations, or other treatments depending on what's causing your joint pain. But these foods can be a helpful and important part of managing inflammation naturally, and unlike medications, they come with other health benefits too. Better heart health, better brain health, more energy, the whole package. If you found this helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more practical, science-based nutrition tips. And let me know in the comments, which of these foods are you already eating and which one are you going to try adding? Thanks for watching, and here's to healthier, happier joints.